Down in Nassau Shore Civic I don't know why they call it Nassau Shores, but for some reason down in South Massapequa they have a bunch of neighborhoods, Biltmore Shores. You live in Massapequa.
No, actually, believe it or not, more neighborhoods have nominal designations, but they tend not to publicize it.
No, I didn't know that.
Believe it or not. Not everyone, but...
The name of the subdivision.
Yeah.
The name of the subdivision.
Some of them publicize it by signage, others don't.
Well, we don't really have any subdivision or anything. We just have like a neighborhood. But
Yeah, I would definitely agree with what you're saying. Bar Harbor, Harbor Green,
yeah. So anyway,
the gates of North Massapequa.
when I moved back there in '93, I found out that I had private sanitation, that the town didn't pick up my sanitation. And I didn't really think much of it when I moved in. I called the sanitation company and I signed up. And over the years, I've had problems where I wasn't satisfied with the service. What I wanted to do was actually what I'm saying is periodically over the last 20 years, I must have called like half a dozen times, and I'd call up the clerk's office and I'd say, hey, can you tell me why the town isn't picking up my garbage? And they would say, oh, you have to talk to this guy, sanitation. And the bottom line is you would get a referral to Winter Brothers, which is the sanitation that is picking up my garbage. Now, I just happened to call again.
Rob, how long have you been under contract with Winter Brothers? Since '93?
I don't know how long I've been under contract with Winter Brothers.
More than a year?
No. I don't think Winter Brothers had the whole contract the whole time. No, I think there was somebody in there before them, I'm pretty sure.
So were you under contract with a private carter since 1993?
Yeah.
You're welcome, yeah.
Why do you ask?
I'm just curious as to what's evolved since 1993, what the history has been.
Oh, well, let me put it this way.
You said you've been under contract since 93 with a private carter.
I've periodically canceled my service with private carter. I haven't had consistent service through the whole time.
Okay.
So what I was saying was, just recently I called the town clerk's office actually a couple of Fridays ago. I actually got the runaround one more time. When I called up, I didn't explain who I was or anything. I just said, I'd like to know, can you tell me I live in Massapequa? And then when I called back, I did mention who I was, and I spoke to Mr. Altadonna, and he explained to me that, and this is the first time since I've been living there, explained to me that the reason that there's private sanitation in the community in Nassau Shores is because our HOA requested it. And Right, homeowners association. And I explained to Mr. Altadonna that we don't have a homeowners association, that we have a civic association. And I'm actually working in conjunction with the civic association now, and by their own admission, out of the 1,530, I think it's 31 or 38 properties that are in the town of Oyster Bay, only about a third actually are dues-paying members, and they get a very small turnout at their meetings. But in any case, what Mr. Altadonna explained to me was, back in 2014, the Civic Association came to the town requesting that we have the town services pick up our sanitation in Oyster Bay. I mean, the town does a great job. It would actually, I think they had really got excited after Superstorm Sandy because the town did a great job down there. And through my conversations with Mr. Loos, who's the president of the Civic Association, he explained to me that the last attempt to investigate the feasibility of the town taking over garbage collection was in April, May of 2014. The projected costs were based on the assessment at that time. The Civic Association requested this information from the town. There were several departments that became involved, including the Office of the Town Attorney, the IT Division, and I believe the Finance Department and the Department of Public Works. I do not know exactly which department calculated the formula. We were informed that in order for this to occur, the Civic Association should deliver a petition signed by more than 50%, not of the people, but of the assessed value of the community to the town board. The Civic Association would be petitioning to expand the town of Oyster Bay garbage collecting district to include the area defined as Nassau Shores in the petition. It would not be switching our district to the town, which would lead one to believe that we never were a district. In theory, you needed a majority of the assessed value, not the property of the number of residents. Every property owner was in favor of the town taking over garbage collection, which would be required to sign a petition. Now, I started to look at the list that was provided to the Civic Association, and I was paying $35 a month to Winter Brothers. Actually, I just recently terminated with them because personal reasons, but I was under the impression that everybody in Nassau Shore was paying $35, but I've been corrected since. But when I calculated the tax, or the estimated tax collection for the 1,500 properties, it's over $750,000. So what I don't understand is, I mean, I spoke to Mr. Altadonna, and the Civic Association lost their records in Sandy, and he. Did you want to say something?
Yeah, I went back for you.
Thank you, thank you. And Mr. Altadonna got him, it's great. But up until now, I mean, I'm led to believe that he got him when I saw the book, but prior till today, we didn't know whether or not we were going to have any documents. But the point is that sometime we decided to remove, I would imagine I'll have to read, I haven't seen it yet, but I would imagine that there was an agreement that Nassau Shores would not be included in a garbage district. I mean, I don't have a garbage district bill on my tax bill. I just have a solid waste disposal, okay? So, I was really dismayed that...
Can I just...
I'm sorry, go ahead.
The solid waste disposal tax only covers the recycling and the infrastructure for running the landfill, period.
Right.
Okay?
Thanks. Thank you very much. So I was a little bit dismayed that here the town has an opportunity. I mean, I don't know how far it went back, but it was brought to the town's attention in 2014. We have an opportunity to recoup $750,000 in tax revenue every year if we pick up our own garbage. I mean, we do a better job than anybody else.
Two things.
I'm sorry.
In 1956, they tried to establish the district. Because you asked me to research this for you. Okay, they tried to establish the district. Back then, it was called the Encore Civic Association, prior to the establishment of the Nassau Shore Civic Association, which was in 1957.
57?
Yeah. Yeah, Mr. James Walsh. They were adamantly against it. They did not want
That's okay.
public sanitation.
I mean, who knows what was going on in
I'm not
57?
saying, but this is a history here. What we're trying to do, if you give us the time, because we're now up to 1959, we spent probably 150 hours to try and solve your request and get the information. It's not like anybody here is trying to hide anything.
I'm not saying that.
You have to. When I called the office of the clerk and I got the runaround.
Well, I did. Excuse me for a second. Let me just clarify this. I did get the runaround before I spoke to you, Mr. Altadonna. Since I've been speaking with you have not given me any runaround. But periodically, and I'm not the first person that even mentioned it at this meeting today. I have called to get information, and I've gotten a runaround.
And I appreciate that, but if you don't give me a name of the person you spoke to give you the runaround, then we cannot address it.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Okay, so in the future, if you have an issue with the clerk's office and someone doesn't respond the way you think they should respond, get a name, give the clerk's office a call, and I will discuss it with you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, there is no, we are here to serve. Okay, we're here to serve all the residents of Oyster Bay. And if it's not being done properly, we need to know about it by name, and we need to take responsibility for it.
You know, I agree with everything that you're saying, and you might not, maybe you don't remember, but about 6 months ago, maybe it was 8 months ago, I brought to your attention. I actually did a freedom of information request for the procedure that the town has for, I'm going to say civilian or resident, to make a complaint on a town employee. And the response I got back is, you don't have one. And at that point, nobody was interested in setting anything up. But I appreciate your concern now, and in the future, if I do have an issue, I will attempt to get some names and to contact you. Just getting back to this issue.
Hold on.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I thought we were hearing, when you talk about the history here?
Yeah, still going on with this.
Can I say something? I don't mean to interrupt, but if you don't mind, I would prefer to speak to you that, like, for instance, the history of the designation of this private sanitation thing is irrelevant to the concerns I'm addressing today. At one time or another, was it agreed upon that private sanitation would handle it? Obviously so. I'm not disputing that. I don't even think there's I'd like to read it later to find out, you know, the history of what happened, but it has nothing to do with the concern I'm raising today.
Rob, I think the problem we're having, there are no agreements here. This is not about an agreement. I think this is where we're going wrong, and where maybe the history would have helped us. But you don't hear it, believe me, we'll leave it out. It wouldn't take me, I believe Jim when he says he put in all those man hours or personnel hours, whatever you call it, I could keep the answer down probably to a minute or so. Because I've been the town supervisor for a while. This issue didn't come up for the first time in 2014. I don't want to say it comes up annually, but maybe darn close. It certainly comes up every time you have a change in the leadership in the Civic Association. And every time, John Venditto, I think, was the past president. And so the last time it was brought to my attention was through John, but it has come up many times before. There's no agreement here. The town doesn't participate in the process at all, other than to follow the law. There is a, I don't memorize the entire law, but if an area of the town that is not getting municipal sanitation pickup, as you and I would call it, and they want to become part of the collection district, it is solely and wholly their choice. And the way they do it, there's a process. You know the process, Tom?
You know town law section 190 and the 5 sections thereafter, there's a petition.
Petition and a referendum, and other areas in the town have followed the procedure and have become part of the collection district. My experience over the years with the Nassau Shores community has been, we've met many times and set forth the provisions of law that they need to make them a part of the collection district. And we've given it to them and offered whatever assistance whatever resources we have, we'll set up the referendum for you, we'll do it all. Where it always broke down, and again, this is my experience, where it always broke down is when you charged the, whoever came forward, in this case, the Civic Association, whoever came forward, when you charged them with the responsibility of going out and getting a petition, every single time they went out for the petition, there was a very sharply divided community. Half the people wanted it, half the people didn't want it. And I think with the controversy that ensued, I don't believe we ever got the petition back. So when you talk about, because I think that what's at the core of what you're saying is the town somehow plays a role in the decision as to whether or not Nassau Shores could be, and the town is trying to do something to discourage that. We don't have that power. The power rests solely in the will of the community. That's all it is. It's as simple as that. And over the years, every time the community has come forward and said, we'd like supervisor or town board or councilman, whoever they met with, we'd like to do this, we said, great, welcome aboard, here's what you need to do. And we gave them all the documentation, and we told them, we will assist them, we will set up the referendum, we'll coordinate it with the Board of Elections, it's on us, so to speak. And it always broke down when it came time, because neighbor number 1 wanted it, neighbor number 2 didn't want it, neighbor number 3 wanted it, neighbor number 4 didn't want it. And by the way, just so you know, I got to step out for a second, but they even came forward with reasons.
I'm sorry, can you just repeat all this?
Residents would even voice reasons why they were for or against it. For example, someone whose property value is assessed higher than someone else pays a much more substantial fee for the municipal collection.
They should.
Of course. So they didn't want their fee to go up. Others said, hey, you know what? I like the personal touch.
You know what?
Wait, let me finish talking.
Wait, I'm sorry.
That was one reason why some residents wanted it. And of course, a resident whose property value wasn't assessed, at the high value, they would like the municipal collection because, okay, that's logical. Another reason we heard is, the residents would say, I'd like the personal service. I've got a rapport with, the man or woman who picks up my sanitation. Hey, don't tell anybody, but they go to my back door and get it, or, whatever the deal is. And they were happy, and they didn't want to go to municipal service. Government, what was the old Ronald Reagan expression? Go and help me with government. Come on, somebody. No, government, government.
From the government, I'm here to help.
Government is, yeah, right.
I'm here from the government.
Government is never the solution, it's always the problem, that's what I was saying. And many residents have that attitude as well. So if what you're looking to do is to, hold up guys, if what you're looking to do is to bring about the entry of Nassau Shores into the collection district, we're here. We'll give you the petitions, we'll provide all the backup, all the cover, we'll pick up the expense, the referendum, we'll do it all for you. But the decision is not the town, by agreement or otherwise. It solely and wholly rests on the will of the people.
If I remember correctly, in 1990, the town sued East Norwich to make it part of Oyster Bay Garbage District.
I don't know.
Yeah,
No,
I have the lawsuit at
I don't
home.
believe that.
But in any case,
Whoa, wait a minute, you just made a statement. Bob McEvoy, can you elucidate?
My recollection is that the Carter sued the town because of certain revenues that were going into the sanitation district. That came from a petition. I know the names of the people who actually did it. They had to vote at the East Norwich Firehouse, and the residents at the same time, based on assessed valuation of higher, lower, and the fact that they had, some of the houses had backyard pickup up there, which the town wouldn't provide. They voted it down, and then it never went anywhere past that.
Yeah, but see, this is important, Robert, because I corrected you earlier about this agreement business. Bob just gave you an explanation. You already went off on an inference that the town sued East Norwich, and therefore there's something rotten in Denmark and something's happening in Nassau Shores. But you see, everything is built on, it's like a house of cards.
John, you say that all the time.
Well, because it's so, Robert. The reason I don't say it.
I mean, what am I supposed to feel?
No. I don't say it because I have nothing else to say. I say it because it's the only thing to say. It's what I'm saying to you is true.
All right, let me just move on. The town has...
I can do, Robert.
Okay, great. The town has its own code on solid waste. It's chapter 201. 201.18 is permits required. No person in the business of collecting, transporting, or disposing of solid waste shall remove any solid waste from the premises of any person upon any transport, the same due upon any street. So basically, you need a permit. They need a permit. Winter Bros needs a permit, okay? Actually, they need a type 1 permit, okay? Then there's an application. It's 2001-21. The content, it explains the contents of the application. Can you tell me, do we have an application on file from Winter Bros? Okay.
Well, we supply it.
Thank you very much. I'd also like to ask, they're required to post a deposit and a bond. We have that also?
I'll check on it.
Okay. Can you tell me, the town has the right to inspect Winter Brothers records. Have we ever inspected their records at all?
That's a financial.
Okay, thanks.
I will get that.
Now, according to section 201-27, the duty to collect, transport, and deliver recyclables, every permittee, as a condition of the issuance and maintenance of the waste removal permit, shall have agreed to collect, transport, and deliver source-separated recyclable materials generated by any of his customers who have been designated as recycling participants. I don't understand. Winter Brothers doesn't pick up our recyclables. The town of Oyster Bay does. Why wouldn't Winter Brothers be doing it? According to this code, Winter Brothers should be doing it.
So it's a contractual obligation between you and Winter Brothers, nothing to do with the town. The town has agreed to pick up the recycling.
Wait a second.
Nothing to do with the other.
So what you're saying is that although the town code, as part of their permit, okay, they're agreeing that they're going to assume the recycling aspect of the business.
You're saying as part of their contract?
No. As part of their town permit.
Right.
It's in the town permit.
Okay.
Okay, this is the town permit. This is their requirements. This is what they're agreeing on when they get their town permit. Not any contract between me.
I'd like to see a copy of that.
Yeah,
There's
no
also
problem.
recycling within solid waste.
You have to pass it back like
There's recycling within solid waste. Not only recycling as in glass bottles.
Right. I'll just reread section 201-27. Duty to collect, transport, and deliver recyclables. Every permittee, that's the person that gets the permit, the garbage guy, as a condition of the issuance and maintenance of the waste removal permit, shall have agreed to collect, transport, and deliver source-separated recyclable materials generated by any of his customers who have been designated as recyclable participants. Okay? Such recyclable...
Robert, hang on, that, I think that is the really important part that you just read. You just read that last like 4 words.
Who have been designated as recycling participants.
So they have to have been designated as recycling participants. It's not
Yes.
saying that, well, maybe you were, maybe you weren't. Not saying that every single
I
person.
believe that at this point, every household in the town of Oyster Bay should be designated as a recycling participant. I mean, everybody has yellow cans from Oyster Bay.
But this section that you're reading.
I'm talking about my neighborhood, I'm sorry.
Right, no, I got it, but this section you're reading deals specifically with those that are being serviced by an outside vendor. So you can't say that it's every single person that deals with an outside vendor is necessarily designated as a recycling participant. I don't know that to be true. Do you know it to be true for a fact?
Okay, no, all right. We'll wait till I can confirm that then. Actually, the town would designate them, right? Who else would designate them? The town, right?
Maybe the
Maybe-
contractor that they're providing, I'm not sure.
Wait, I'm sorry. Are you saying that the contractor would, I'll use myself as an instance. Are you saying that the contractor would decide whether or not I'm a recycling participant?
You know, can I see the statute? I know you only have one copy, but I feel like I'm shooting blind a little bit.
It's 201.
I would want to see a definition somewhere in the code of what a designated recycling participant is. Without that, I don't think,
Okay.
yeah, the town attorney, they can provide that. Do you need this back, Robert?
Please, if you don't mind.
Sorry.
Okay, so maybe we can confirm what that definition would be.
Why don't we move on though from there?
Okay, I'm just going to move on to the next section. It's 201-29, issuance of decals and fees. And this states that the permits required by this article shall be issued by the town clerk following review and approval of the permit application, and upon payment of the application thereof of a fee in accordance with the schedule for below. So each permit issued pursuant to this article shall be issued as of the date of the granting thereof and shall expire on the first day of the February next succeeding date. Would you agree that these are yearly?
Yearly.
Okay. And then, can you tell me, are you issuing the permits every year?
We do issue
To Winter Brothers?
permits.
I mean, they have,
Robert?
just find out.
Yeah.
Thank you. And the only other thing I want to make you aware of is that the code calls for Winter Brothers to display the decal that you're supposed to be giving them on their truck. And at least in my neighborhood, there's no decals on any of the trucks.
Okay, we'll send that to code.
Hey, Rob, just in the interest of time.
Yes, I'm finishing up right now.
Yeah, but do we have
Is
a...
there relief that are you looking for something in particular from all of this, or is this just a recitation of the
Yes,
law? What
yes,
is it?
I'm
We just bottom line it?
I'm
Like,
here to
what is it?
be, well, we can't just bottom line it.
Right.
Because I'm entitled to explain it my way. I can't just, I'll do the best I can for you. Okay, the Civic Association, from what I understand, wants the town to
By the way,
collect garbage.
You know, we're not going to argue about whether you're entitled or not, but Rebecca's question is legitimate. What's the purpose here? Where we're going?
That's all I'm
I'm
asking.
trying to find out what's happened, why it happened the way it did, and how we can correct it and move on.
When we offered Jim is sitting there poised to tell you that, and you tell him, I don't want to hear about
I
it.
didn't say I don't want to hear about
Then
it.
let's
You did say you didn't want to hear
I mean,
about it.
do you want me to just leave without telling you everything, all my concerns? Is that what you want?
I want to give you an answer. You just said you want to know how it happened, how we got here. Jim is prepared to tell you that, so why don't we listen to Jim? He said, I want to tell you the history of how we got here.
I'm sorry, John, listen. Let me just finish without you being argumentative.
Pick up the pace.
All right, I'll make it real quick, all right? Listen, this is in a nutshell, okay? This is what I'm getting, okay? From what I was told, the Civic Association came to the town in 2014.
Who
You
told
said,
you? Who told you?
The president of the Civic Association.
Current president?
Yes.
Was he a part of the 14 meeting?
The vice president was,
Okay. Vice president.
John Venditto.
He was the president at the time.
He's president at the time, he's vice president now.
Okay.
Okay? Actually, I can read you his emails if you like, if you want to know what he said.
No, not really. I want you to.
Okay, so here's my, well, you're questioning who they are. If you want to know exactly what they said, I can read you exactly what they said. So it's been conveyed to me that they came to the town in 2014, and they said, listen, we want the town to do our garbage. Okay, and they were given a list by the town, and the town said, listen, this is a list that we compiled, this is how much it's going to cost every taxpayer if they switch to our garbage. Okay, and like I mentioned earlier,
By the way, they asked for that information.
of course they did, right, which I'm saying, they asked for it, and it renewed the situation in the town's eyes, okay? So no matter what went on here, I just don't understand why the town wouldn't be pursuing taking over the private sanitation. But we're residents, and let me just explain to you, the feedback that I'm getting from the Civic Association is that the town is making it difficult for them instead of embracing it, okay? My last attempts to investigate the feasibility of the town taking garbage collection was in April, May, right? I find it hard to believe that the town would see $750,000 in possible revenue from residents of the town of Oyster Bay, okay? And say, well, you know what, it was an agreement made back in '57, so we can't do anything about it. I just want to bring one last item to your attention, okay? And then I'll answer your question.
I just want to make sure that I'm understanding. So the reason you're here is because you are representing a civic association that would like to be brought back into the town sanitation. Is that it? I want to be clear. Is that what you're at? I just want to make sure I understand.
To the best of my knowledge, yes.
Okay, so why not just ask that?
If I can, why don't we find out the mechanism to do that and start the whole
Okay.
motion if that's the case you want to do that?
That's what I like to do.
All right,
Okay,
excellent.
all right.
Yeah,
All right.
that's a mechanism, but that's the reason they were provided with that information is so that they had sufficient information to present the petition. Until the town board submitted a petition on behalf of an area, it doesn't have to be by the Civic Association, by a definite area with definite boundaries, then the town board can pass upon it. And if the town board finds it to be in the best interest, it's then subject to a referendum by the residents.
Is the Civic
Right.
Association
So
aware
giving-
of what they need to do in order to get back on?
Giving the Civic Association the information was the information necessary for them to submit a petition.
Okay, so
No
they know
petition has
what
ever
they're
been
doing, right?
submitted to the town board.
You know,
Robert, it seems like if
It's-
you want to get back on, there are procedures that have to be followed.
But it doesn't have to be the Civic Association, it could be a
All
group
the
of certain residents.
Right, absolutely.
Yeah.
And if you get a meeting together.
I mean, I want to come back on right now.
Someone come.
I'd like to come back on,
I
and
understand that.
it's, I hope you can just appreciate that.
Councilman Pinto,
Oh, I got you.
may I, Councilman Pinto?
I got you.
It's New York State town law, like Mr. Sabelico mentioned before.
190?
It's in the law,
Right.
it's very clear. We all have to follow it. The civic does their, the residents in that area do their part, and then it comes to us, and then we do our part.
Okay.
That's how it works.
Listen, we'll address it that way. It just seems silly to me that the residents want to come to the town, and they're not a strong association, there are not a lot of people involved, they have a very difficult time getting anything done, and it just doesn't, this is what I wanted to bring to your attention, okay? It just doesn't make sense to me that the town could recoup all this money in revenue, but it's not happening because of the deficiencies of the operation of the Civic Association. That's what's going on. They can't get it done, okay? So,
I don't know if I don't know what, I think what really happened is the community is very divided over the issue. I think I think the Civic Association has tried very hard to get the job done, but when they actually go out into the streets, they find that figuratively speaking, they're very sharp, violent disagreements about this issue. I think the Civic Association is not to be blamed. They come forward and they ask, what do we do? We tell them, we equip them with all the information, we help them, petitions, and like I said before, setting up referendums and stuff like that. But then when they go out into the streets, I think they find that the community is very, 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 very seriously split on this issue.
I just wanted to just give you some information. One last thing before I go. I just wanted to say that, you know, you're right about what you're saying about the division possibly in the community. And although we were able to get the list of what it would cost if the town did it. We're currently trying to get a list from Winter Brothers of what everybody pays, because nobody in the Civic Association has been able to look apple to apples. I mean, nobody, you know what I mean? So, great. I wanted to bring attention that this is out there. Personally, as a resident of Oyster Bay, I don't think anybody should be paying for private service. I think the town should be doing all of it. I just see revenue that we're losing. Are there steps to go through it that you pointed out to me? Yes, there are. So we'll continue to work together on it, and hopefully we can get into the town.
Okay,
All right,
Bob,
thank
you want
you.
to add one thing?
Yeah, Bob and I were just talking, the revenue, this Rob, very answer. The revenue is not for free. You still have to go in there, collect the garbage, hire workers, put a truck on, dispose of the garbage, pay the tipping fee. So we don't even know right now if it would be a profit or loss center for the town, but it's a service, and the town has always been in favor of going through it if the residents go through the proper, which sounds, like you said, a lot of red tape. It is, but the town has cooperated, and all the residents have to do is file this petition and go from there.
You know, I'm glad you brought that up, because this came to mind also. Like, I was paying $35 a month, and could you imagine if everybody could pay $35 a month, like all the overhead you just mentioned? Why not switch the whole town to private and just do away with the whole sanitation thing? I mean, that you know, come on. Thank you.